When you melt down your misfortunes, good fortune will return. There are times when you feel that luck is far away, when nothing goes right, your efforts don't pay off, people leave, and your heart just feels weary. In those moments, we often say that we are unlucky. Is it really bad luck, as they often say? About the 3 years of misfortune, is my fate harsh? However, the Buddha did not say that blessings are already within you, but your karma is just hiding them. It's not that there are no blessings. It's not that all blessings have left. It is simply that the fortune is lingering in a place where it can come in. A person's fortune does not fall from the sky, but blooms from the heart. However, if that heart becomes clouded with greed, anger, or resentment, the fortune cannot enter and will hesitate at the door. The Buddha referred to that as karma. The accumulation of karma has become an obstacle that blocks the flow of blessings. So how can the blocked blessings flow again? I intend to slowly unravel, one by one, according to the Buddha's teachings, why the blessings of life stop, and how to dissolve the karma for those blessings to return. Fortune is ready to stay with you. What you need now is to clear the fog in your heart that is hiding your fortune. The first story is about why misfortune occurs. The moment fortune stops, everyone desires it. A healthy body, warm relationships, and a life without blockages. However, strangely enough, even though I work hard, things don't go well, and despite my best efforts, I feel lonely, and a period of things going wrong keeps coming. At first, I think it's just a coincidence. Then gradually, it becomes strange that things aren't going well. I start to wonder if I've done something wrong, and these thoughts begin to weigh heavily on my mind. In the past, it certainly felt like I had good fortune, but at some point, it felt as if that fortune was drifting away from my fingertips, turning around and going to someone else instead of me. The Buddha said that this state is not a lack of fortune, but rather the emergence of obstacles that cover the fortune. This is what we call karmic obstacles. Karmic obstacles do not arise suddenly. A small word, a careless glance, feelings of comparison, hatred and resentment gradually accumulate and begin to obscure the flow of our lives. At first, it seems like nothing is happening. But when a dark shadow looms over the heart and begins to affect every corner of life, even when blessings come, the vessel to hold those blessings shatters. It's not that blessings are avoiding me, it's that the place for those blessings to reside has vanished from within my heart. The Buddha explained karma in this way. Blessings are always by our side, but the karma you have accumulated pushes those blessings away. We often say that in order for blessings to come, we must accumulate virtue. But what we need to do first is to dissolve the karma that holds those blessings. Some say that even after accumulating merit, opportunities do not come. They say that even after practicing for a long time, life is still difficult. At such times, we must ask ourselves, is there still resentment in my heart that I haven't let go of? Am I still harboring an obsession that hasn't disappeared? Is the karma of the words I've spoken coming back to me as it is? Blessings are not something far away. They're coming closer and waiting within me even at this moment. It's just that I am unable to let go of the karma that is covering those blessings. From now on, we need to start practicing looking at that karma and gradually melting it away. This is the first step to inviting blessings back. Let's walk this path together from now on. The second story is about which karma blocks the blessings. The habits of the heart, the power of words, and the traces of actions. The reason blessings do not come is not because I am currently an unblessed person, but because the habits of my heart prevent blessings from staying. People often ask, why don't I have any luck? Why does life seem to be going so wrong? I first ask those who feel this way, where is my heart flowing these days? Isn't there a lot of resentment? Aren't you comparing yourself? Aren't you often hating yourself? When your heart is dark and rough, even if blessings come, you won't be able to feel their energy, just as a waterway can be blocked by muddy water. Blessings can only reside in a clear heart. The burdens of the heart always begin with small things. The feeling of jealousy towards someone is a denial of oneself. The little lies and moments when we ignored or spoke ill of others, that one thought or word has been gradually blocking our blessings. The Buddha taught that it's not just about accumulating blessings, but also about properly emptying the vessel, so that blessings can reside within it. The first step in emptying the vessel begins with being mindful of our words. The karma created through speech returns to our lives more quickly than we might think. Often, a careless word thrown at someone can come back to us, in the same form from another person on a different day. We can gain blessings through our words, and we can also create karma with them. Being cautious with our speech becomes the first step in eliminating our negative karma. Additionally, one of the most frightening habits that blocks blessings is constant self-blame. Why am I like this? Why do I feel so inadequate? Such thoughts are the karma we create for ourselves. Blessings reside in a bright and orderly heart. The more I undermine myself, the more blessings flow elsewhere, not to me. If I hate myself, that karma remains on my face, seeps into my tone, and leaves traces in my actions. Therefore, melting away karma is nothing other than changing the direction of my heart from a heart that hates myself to a heart that understands myself, from a heart that blames others to a heart that recognizes the pain of others. That small change opens the flow of blessings again. From now on, it is wise to first consider what to let go of, rather than what blessings to wish for. As karma begins to accumulate, life changes. Only then do we realize that blessings have always been by our side. The third story, a life that melts away. Karma clarifies the heart and practices attracting blessings. Blessings do not fall from the sky. Blessings have always been within us, however. The space for those blessings was obscured by greed, anger, and a dark heart, preventing us from recognizing that light. The Buddha said this: blessings are not something to be hoarded. They are about emptying my heart so that blessings can flow in. So how can we dissolve our karmic obstacles? What kind of practice and mindset will allow the blessings that have been blocked to begin flowing again? The practice of dissolving karma does not have to be grand. It starts with very small actions that lighten the heart and change one's attitude towards life. First, reduce your words. The Buddha said, if you speak less, your karma will decrease, and when your karma decreases, blessings will flow in. We create a lot of karma through our words. Complaints, accusations, gossip, whining, and resentmental of these come back to me as they leave my mouth. The path for blessings to come must be quiet and serene. A constantly noisy mind and sharp words cannot hold blessings. Reflecting on the unnecessary words I spoke once a day. This itself is the first practice of dissolving karmic obstacles. Secondly, observing the mind. Karma does not come from outside. It arises from the mindset and thoughts we carry in our lives. A person filled with dissatisfaction, constantly comparing and hating others, and considering themselves worthless, is essentially kicking away opportunities to create blessings. Before ending the day, quietly ask yourself how your mind was today. It is about quietly observing every word, thought, and gaze I held, as if looking into a mirror. As this observation accumulates, the mind gradually becomes clearer. and blessings slowly begin to return upon that clarified mind. Thirdly, creating small merits. People often think that only great deeds create blessings, but in reality, blessings start from very small acts of goodwill. A bright smile, a kind word, or a quiet prayer for someone. All of this is about gradually melting away our karma and reopening the flow of blessings, serving a warm meal to someone, being a source of strength for those weaker than myself, and comforting myself without self-blame. These are all virtues that are etched in heaven. And the key to melting away karma lies in changing the way I live my life. In a life that is always busy, we lose the place where blessings can reside. Amidst the days that pass, without a moment to reflect on our hearts. Taking a moment to pause and look at the day, as if in prayer, that quiet moment gradually melts away our afflictions and leads me back to the place of blessings. The Buddha said, "If you clear your heart, blessings will naturally follow you like your shadow." From now on, rather than striving to grasp blessings, it is time to create a self where blessings can dwell. Blessing is not a condition, but a result. When my life flows correctly, blessings come as guests along that path. If I dissolve my karma, that guest will quietly knock on my door again. The fourth story. The moment blessings return. The changes. In a life where karma has been dissolved, blessings return without any signal, without any warning. Like spring snow melting, they quietly seep into my life. Not many people know that moment. Because fortune approaches not with dazzling changes, but rather with a gradually lightening heart. There was a middle-aged female believer who had been betrayed by her husband and had grown distant from her children. Her heart was filled only with dark shadows of resentment and loneliness. At first, she blamed the world, wondering why this was happening only to her. But one day, she began to quietly learn how to pray. At first, it was only tears. She cried during her prayers, and feelings of self-blame kept surfacing. But she prayed for herself for 10 minutes every day, without suppressing those feelings. I forgive my foolishness. I will not blame anyone. I pray for blessings to return. I empty my heart. After a few months, strange things began to happen one day. My son, who hadn't contacted me for a long time, called to wish me a happy birthday, and I strangely felt at ease in my relationships with new people. She says, "My life hasn't changed, but one day, people started to treat me warmly. I now understand that it's all because my heart has changed." Fortune does not come suddenly like luck. When the heart begins to melt, a person changes. Their expressions change, their tone of voice changes, and even their breathing becomes softer. Strangely, this changed heart leads me to the side of fortunate people. A certain male believer struggled with his business for several years. Knowing the deeds he had committed, he quietly began to offer prayers to dissolve his karma. Every dawn, he recalled the lies he had told, the careless words he had spoken, and the people he had ignored, repenting and praying for each memory. One day, he said this, "It wasn't my goal for the business to do well again, but as I prayed, I naturally began to see the direction I needed to go. When my heart became calm, people started to gather around me again." The moment blessings return truly comes quietly. When the morning sunlight feels particularly warm, when someone's words sound comforting, when I no longer blame myself, all those moments are signs that blessings have begun to return. Blessings linger with those who have a peaceful heart. They quietly dwell in that person's footsteps, gaze, and breath. Where do those blessings come from? That person was born quietly within the karma. They melted away. The Buddha said, "It is about returning to oneself." You, who are watching this video, will someday quietly feel the flow of blessings. If your karma is melting away now, then blessings are already by your side. The attitude of life that keeps blessings, and the way not to create karma again, will bring blessings back. However, how long those blessings stay depends on the life I lead. It is important to call forth blessings, but it is even harder to maintain them. The Buddha said this: "Blessings hope that you remain awake, and blessings wish for you to be clear. Blessings dwell in clear water, but we often return to our old habits when blessings come back. Our words become harsh, pride arises, our hearts loosen, and we forget to be grateful. From that moment on, blessings quietly turn away. Blessings do not like a flashy life. They dwell in a tidy heart, a tranquil daily life, and a heart that knows how to be thankful. Those who have blessings are always gentle in their speech. They do not expose others' faults or put themselves forward. They bow their heads at small things and do not take credit for others' achievements. In such a person's heart, blessings comfortably lie down. It becomes a space where you don't have to leave. To avoid rebuilding our lives, we must engrave the following 3 things into our lives. First, remembering that blessings are not something I deserve to receive. It is simply a gift granted by heaven, because I have become prepared enough to welcome blessings. We must remember that blessings come from accumulated. Virtue and continuity begins with an awakened heart. Second, maintaining humility. As blessings increase, our hearts should become more humble. The more blessings we have, the warmer we should treat others. How we treat people is the key to making blessings stay longer than what we possess. Third, sharing blessings again. Blessings grow more when they flow rather than accumulate. If I share the blessings I have received little by little, those blessings will come back to me. There was a believer who felt that blessings would not leave me. After a heartfelt prayer and a comforting word, after going through tough times and enduring long suffering, I felt the blessings returning. One day she said, "In the past, I thought it was natural for blessings to come, but now I understand. I realized that blessings need to be kept. So I started to share as much as I received, and interestingly, my life became stronger." Her face was filled with tranquility. That is the face of a person where blessings reside. Blessings know how to stay. Blessings know where it is warm, where it is calm, and where it is less shaken. And I willingly take root in the heart of someone who can truly welcome me. It is now time to prepare a vessel for a life where blessings can comfortably reside, rather than just waiting for blessings. The Buddha said, "Blessings grow larger when you forget yourself and benefit others." Blessings are not just for oneself. They bloom through relationships and deepen as they are shared. I hope the blessings that reside within you flow out into the world through you. The next story: the quiet miracles that come after the dissolution of karmic obstacles. True change comes like this. Karmic obstacles darken life little by little without leaving a trace, casting shadows on a person's tone, thoughts, and choices, like dust on a window. When that burden is gradually melted away, life doesn't suddenly shine. Instead, it becomes slightly less heavy and a bit warmer in some way. That's a sign that good fortune has started to return. In the past, I felt anxious for no reason. I wasn't comfortable meeting people, and whenever I tried to start something, I kept feeling like I was falling apart inside. However, only after melting away my karma did I realize that those feelings were created by me. It wasn't because of anyone else or my environment. The karma I had accumulated was blocking the sunlight of my life. When I melt away my karma, I change as a person. My words become softer, my expressions warmer, and even my self-talk quiets down. If someone had said something to me before, I would have been hurt, but now I just laugh it off. In a situation where my past self would have felt anger and injustice, now there are no ripples in my heart. This is the serene blessing that the Buddha spoke of. Blessings are not extravagant. Blessings are peaceful. A life that is not ashamed of itself, regardless of recognition from others, is where blessings reside. Such serene miracles can sometimes be felt when casually looking out the window. Even when alone, one does not feel lonely, and in silence the heart feels secure. Relationships with people flow harmoniously without forcing attachment. Now, whether someone is by my side or not, my heart is not anxious. That is how life quietly changes after dissolving past grievances. Some people ask, what changes when you pray? Does life really change by dissolving karma? At such times, I want to respond like this. Yes, it changes. The world remains the same, but I begin to change. And that changed version of me starts to alter the world's reactions. This quiet miracle is invisible. However, it is a profound change that alters the entire color of life. At some point, you stop hating people. The thought that I am lacking disappears. No matter what happens, I remain unshaken. And on that calm center, blessings naturally reside. The Buddha said, blessings follow the quiet. Blessings sit on the lotus of a calm heart. I hope you become the lotus of that blessing more than anyone else now. Even if you don't try to make big changes, quiet miracles will surely bloom on this path as you go slowly. I will share 2 case stories. The first case is about a woman whose heart's burdens were melted and her relationships were restored. For a long time, she had conflicts with her mother-in-law. The arguments, small wounds, and words mixed with blame that have accumulated since the early days of our marriage eventually made it so that just seeing each other would turn my stomach. She often said that I was unlucky. Both my husband and children struggled in the middle, and the name family felt increasingly like a heavy burden to her. One day, she heard this passage during a Dharma talk. Karma is not something to be cut off, but rather something to be melted away. Melting away karma means not changing the other person, but laying down the sword within myself. From that day on, she stopped expecting change from her mother-in-law and simply began to pray quietly, saying, I will melt away my karma first. I will manage the anger of the proposal. I will ensure that this job does not affect the children for a month. There didn't seem to be any significant changes for 2 months, but one day my mother-in-law casually mentioned after dinner that my face has become a bit more relaxed lately. She says she cried that day. It wasn't her mother-in-law who changed, but her own heart. Since that day, the fights have decreased, and the family atmosphere has become much softer. She says that the moment when blessings come is not when the other person loves me, but when I no longer hate the other person. This is the story of the second life. A story of a middle-aged man whose life changed after letting go of long-held resentment. A man in his 50s had been resenting his father for nearly 30 years. The father, who had silently troubled the family since childhood, had a violent tone and an indifferent attitude. Those memories cast a shadow over his personality and his entire life. I couldn't easily trust people in society, and although I pretended to be strong on the outside, I was always shaken by anxiety and anger on the inside. One day, he paused when he heard the question, "Do you still have your father in your heart?" And he answered like this, "It's been over 10 years since that person died, but I am still fighting every day within myself." He said that on that day, he realized that he was not just severing ties with his father, but was constantly reflecting on and repeating his past karma. After that, he began practicing to let go of his karma, not to forgive. During his prayers, he recited these words every day. "You must have suffered too. I was also in pain, and I want to stop this cycle now." A few months later, he had a dream where his father returned to his childhood self, silently looking at him, nodding and leaving. After that day, he said it awakened his heart and strangely made him feel lighter. Above all, his relationships with those around him became smoother, and most importantly, he no longer tormented himself. True fortune begins from the day I stop tormenting my own heart. As he said, blessings begin to quietly settle in the place where misfortune has disappeared. The next story is a determination to continue a life where blessings reside in daily life. Blessings can stay for a while. However, if you want to keep those blessings in your life for a long time, your attitude towards life must change. The Buddha said, "Those who guard their hearts preserve their blessings, while those who scatter their hearts let their blessings slip away." We strive to accumulate blessings, but we often neglect the effort to solidify the heart that keeps those blessings. Blessings are determined not at the moment of prayer, but in the life that follows it. Prayer is merely the act of opening a door, and guarding that door lies in our attitude towards living. Now, we stand before that door. When fortune knocks at the door, it's time to ask yourself whether you are someone who can quietly welcome it, and if you have prepared yourself properly for that moment. Those who harbor fortune live each day as if it were a practice. They choose their words carefully, reflect on their thoughts, and close the day with quiet gratitude. A small line of prayer, a quiet act of consideration, and a moment of silently swallowing injustice all become the unspoken virtues that keep fortune from leaving. Everyone has their own pain. There are mistakes, and one might accumulate karma again. However, each time I gather my thoughts again and recall the Buddha, confessing that I will not lose this mindset. This attitude brings blessings to stay. Having blessings does not mean that everything goes well. It means that even in misfortune, one does not lose their heart. That quiet strength is indeed a blessing. From now on, we will no longer chase after blessings we already know what they are. Who is ready to welcome themselves? I sincerely pray that you become the person who brings comfort to someone's heart, and that quiet blessings linger to create a peaceful home. Blessings do not pass by. They always return to those who have strengthened their hearts. When you dissolve your negative karma, blessings begin to flow again. Those blessings quietly settle on your words, your choices, and the intentions you hold. You no longer need to envy the lives of others. The blessings that can stay within you are already approaching. Even if life is a bit tough and your heart is often shaken, don't give up. Blessings. First, remember the hearts of those who are calm. If today's video could melt away some of the heavy burdens in your heart, please share the words that resonated with you the most in the comments. You can be a light that calls forth blessings for someone else. Today, I support you as you quietly gather your thoughts and walk towards a life where blessings reside. I hope your day shines quietly. I pray that the wisdom of the Buddha is always with you.